All right, so today we're going to dive into a really fascinating story. It's about how an AI made a massive, multi-million pound mistake when it was analyzing the UK tax system. And, more importantly, what that tells us about why humans and artificial intelligence really need to work together. So let's just start with this question, shall we? Is it actually possible for a computer, a really sophisticated AI with all the data in the world, to completely, fundamentally misread an entire country's economy? Well, as we're about to see, the answer is a big and kind of scary yes. Okay, so picture this. A super powerful AI gets a huge task. Analyze the entire UK tax and benefit system. Figure out who's paying in, who's getting what out, the whole shebang. It crunches all the numbers, it runs all the models, and it comes back with a conclusion that was, well, frankly, just baffling. And here's what it found. The AI's big conclusion was that the UK's tax system isn't really all that redistributive. It said that, over a lifetime, the average household was basically a net contributor, or at best, they just broke even. Now, this just flew in the face of what pretty much every economist thought was true. So, how on earth did it get something so massive, so wrong? Now, you'd think it was probably a simple slip-up, right? A misplaced decimal point or something. But nope. And this is what makes it so interesting. The AI's maths was actually perfect. The problem, well, the problem was much, much deeper. It was a fundamental flaw in its logic. So here's what the AI did. Its logic seemed pretty straightforward, right? It looked at the average tax paid by one person, an individual, and it compared that directly against the value of public services that one person gets. On the surface, it seems to make sense, but it's where everything started to go wrong. And this quote from the original source just nails it. It was a classic case of comparing apples and cherries. I mean, sure, they're both fruit, they're in the same ballpark, but you can't just compare them one to one and expect to get a meaningful answer. It's a total category error. And this is where the human in our story becomes the hero. A human reviewer was looking over the AI's work and spotted something. Something the machine, for all its power, had completely missed. It was one single piece of real-world context that was about to blow the whole thing wide open. So what was this huge error? The core error was the unit of analysis. That's it. It sounds so simple, but it's incredibly profound. The AI, with all its processing power, had absolutely no real-world understanding of a household. It was just looking at individuals. And when you're talking about public services, that's a massive, massive mistake. I mean, it makes complete sense when you stop and think about it, right? A single parent pays their income tax, but they aren't the only one who benefits from it. Their kids go to a state school, the whole family drives on public roads, and everyone in the house has access to the NHS. The benefits are consumed by the household, not just by the one person paying the tax bill. So, what happens when you take that one little piece of human common sense and apply it to the AI's perfect calculations? Well, the result is, and I'm not kidding here, absolutely staggering. We're talking about a shift of over £1 million in the lifetime calculation for just an average household. And just look at this table. This is where the sheer scale of the error hits you. Let's take the middle 20% of earners. The AI's flawed analysis, on the left, had them down as net funders, paying in £114,000 more than they got out. But look at the corrected number on the right. Once you factor in the household, they're actually net beneficiaries to the tune of £1.3 million. Just incredible. Let's just let that sink in for a second. That is a £1.4 million swing in how we understand the system for just one group of people. This wasn't a tiny little rounding error. This was a complete reversal of the entire story. All because of one piece of context the machine just didn't get. This chart just shows it so perfectly. The analysis goes from being in the red, a small negative, to this enormous positive position. And it wasn't just this one group. Once the correction was applied, the data showed that the bottom 80%, that's right, 80%, of UK households are major net beneficiaries of the system over a lifetime. So look, here's the real point of all this. This isn't just a story about a wonky tax calculation. It's really a parable about our relationship with AI. It's about that ghost in the machine, that bit of human context, that nuance, that common sense, that even the most powerful computers just can't seem to grasp. At least not yet. You see, AI is absolutely brilliant. It's a phenomenal tool for crunching huge data sets and doing complex maths at lightning speed. But we humans,
We bring the context. The AI completely missed the simple idea of a household, something a human spotted in an instant. The real truth, it turns out, needs both. It needs the raw calculation and it needs the human context.
And this is exactly why this story matters so much. Just imagine for a moment if policymakers had actually believed that first analysis from the AI. They would have been making decisions based on a completely false picture of their own society. It's a huge reminder that we have to be critical partners with AI, not just sit back and accept everything it tells us.
Which really brings us to the final, crucial takeaway, and it's summed up perfectly by the source of this analysis. Use AI as a tool, but don't trust it as an expert. The real ghost in the machine isn't some scary rogue AI. It's the irreplaceable human insight that we need to make sense of it all. And that, right there, is a vital lesson for the age we're all living in.